You're okay with a human being, legal or not getting due process, and you have the gall and the stupidity to call into this show and say, I like what he's doing on immigration, and then hang up the phone like the imbecile coward that you are. Don't call back into the show unless you have the guts to be able to have a conversation with me. Otherwise, go fly a kite, dude. Next up on PTL. Hello, Al.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, I'm a Trump supporter, and all the Latino community wants to wish Trump and America happy Cinco de Mayo, and we want to thank Trump for mentioning that on social media, and we're very happy with the job that Trump is doing and how he's supporting the Hispanic community.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about how you're happy with what Donald Trump has done in the first 100 days. Al, I think we could have a good conversation about that. So, Al, are you comfortable with the economy right now and what these tariffs have done to small businesses and people all over the place that have lost their jobs and lost their livelihoods and lost their 401ks and lost their stocks? Are you okay with the fact that President Xi won't pick up the phone and call Donald Trump? Are you okay with the fact that he said he was going to end the war within 24 hours and he's no closer ending it now than on day one? Are you okay with the fact that the Israel-Palestinian conflict is worse off now than it was on day one? Are you okay with the fact that he lied to you and he said no tax on tips? He lied to you and he said he would lower the price of inflation, and people like you believed him, and gas prices are actually up since day one, not down. Inflation is up since day one, not down, up 0.5%. Are you okay with any of those things that I just mentioned, or would you agree with me it's not good for the economy?
Well, I'm looking at the way the border is, and I'm very happy with that.
Didn't ask you about the border. Didn't ask you about the border. Al, I'm happy.
I don't have an opinion.
Al, I'm happy. Al, so you're going to be a coward. So you're going to be a coward and hang up the phone. What an idiot. What an idiot. Okay, I'm so glad that Al called in. You imbecile. You see, when you confront somebody, a MAGA moron, and make no mistake about it, Al is a coward and a MAGA imbecile. You see what happens? They call into the show. They say they love what he's doing. And then I rattle off about 10 things that he's doing based on his policy that have hurt the country. And instead of Al addressing any of those issues, he brings up the border and then he hangs up the phone. Because number one, they're not smart enough to have a discussion. They're certainly not smart enough to have a debate with me. And they certainly can't defend their ridiculous positions. Oh, I don't want to talk about that, but let's talk about the border. Okay, imbecile, let's talk about the border, even though you're a coward and you hung up the phone. Let's talk about the fact that this country was founded on immigrants, yet he's giving people no due process. There was a woman last week that was breastfeeding her child. I think it was a Latino woman, by the way, Al, but you probably don't want to talk about this or you're unaware of it because you're an imbecile. She was breastfeeding her 1-year-old daughter who had health issues. They literally took her away while she was breastfeeding her 1-year-old daughter, did not give the daughter the opportunity to even go with her. This woman did not get due process. Oh, yeah, by the way, her husband is a legal citizen. You want to talk about immigration? Let's talk about immigration. Let's talk about the fact that he's going into synagogues and churches and schools and deporting a bunch of nonviolent criminals. Let's talk about the fact that he's sending some people to one of the highest maximum security prisons in the world with no due process. A man where the Supreme Court voted 9-0 that this Maryland man needs to be expedited back to the United States of America, and Donald Trump is not doing so. You want to talk about immigration? Let's talk about immigration, that you have so many people in this country that overstay their visas, but they're not brown people, many of them. So Donald Trump doesn't care about that, but he wants to talk about the border. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact how he decided not to tell the Republicans not to vote for this bipartisan border bill. Let's talk about that. But you see, you don't want to talk about those issues. You happen to be a Latino man yourself, and you're despicable because you're okay with people of color not getting due process. You're okay with people that look like you that are in this country that might have a spouse that is a legal citizen, that might have kids that are legal citizens, getting deported with no due process. You're okay with a human being, legal or not getting due process. And you have the gall and the stupidity to call into this show and say, I like what he's doing on immigration, and then hang up the phone like the imbecile coward that you are. Don't call back into the show unless you have the guts to be able to have a conversation with me. Otherwise, go fly a kite, dude. And I hope they deport you. And I hope they send you to El Salvador, quite frankly. What do you think about that? Maybe you don't deserve due process because you're perfectly okay with others not getting due process. You sound like an imbecile. Get the hell out of here then. What do you think about that? And I don't care where you're from. I don't care the color of your skin. I don't care what country you were born. If you are that stupid of a human being, for me to list a number of different things that Donald Trump is doing to this country and the damage that he's costing this country, and you don't want to address any of those issues, and your only stupid statement is, I like what he's doing with immigration, then you're an idiot. So go move to Gaza, Go move to Russia and hang out with your boy Vladimir Putin, because we all know how close you guys are to Russia and how badly you want Russia to win this war. And don't call back into the show, and have a nice day. And God forbid they treat you in Russia like they treated Brittany Griner. But unlike them, I won't ask you to stay there in prison, because, you know, many of the MAGA Republicans like yourself who attacked a woman because she's a woman of color and because she happens to be a lesbian, you see, I'm not like that, Al. I don't want Americans, with all seriousness, to be prisoners in Russia, no matter whether you're a MAGA supporter or not, no matter what the color of your skin is, in all seriousness. But don't ever call into this show again. I've had it with you. If you're not willing to have a conversation and you sound like the idiot that you are, have a nice day. He's done nothing for Latinos. You couldn't name one thing. And he certainly has done nothing for people that look like you, only threaten people like you and threaten deportation and maybe even members of your family. Have a nice day, and go ahead and call into your right-wing echo chamber radio shows. I could care less with 3 listeners, but don't block one of my phone lines for an intelligent caller so some moron like you could call in and embarrass yourself. Have a nice day, you freaking idiot. But you want to go on social media and listen to right-wing turds that, by the way, that are felons, that don't want me on the air. What does that make you? What type of imbecile does that? Brian, I wasn't investigated for anything. See, this is what people do. They go on social media, they lie. I hate to bring it to you, sir, and I'm sorry to give you some information that is factual, because I would assume that somebody like you probably has a criminal record. Hey, Steve.
Hey, Brian. I just wanted to see if you heard about what happened with the Newark mayor and this ICE confrontation.
Fill me in on it. I might have, but refresh my memory.
So he went down to, I believe, an ICE detention facility in, I don't know if it was in Newark or just in New Jersey, but there was a big confrontation and ended up him getting arrested. And I don't know if he brought his constituents, or I believe there was some like New Jersey House members and Senate members there, but it was in the news because
I did hear about it.
Okay,
yeah, I did.
So what do you think about him getting arrested like that?
Well,
the other people that were arrested.
Well, I think that. And what are they saying he did wrong? What laws are they saying that he broke?
I believe they were saying he was trespassing, and then I think some people there got charged with battery on an enforcement officer because it did get physical.
Obviously, I would never defend that. And the limited information that I have in this story, I will say this: MAGA Republicans always talk about the DOJ being politicized. What do you think is going on today?
I mean, I think it was like a local district attorney attorney general that pressed those charges. But I think it's, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, no one's above the law with that.
Okay.
I mean, this guy, I think he got charged with trespassing and then got released the same day.
Okay. Well, it might have been a setup. I don't know if it was a setup. It certainly might have been a setup. But I do feel why
would you say it might have been a setup?
Well, I don't know. I don't know enough about the situation to be able to comment on it, but I do find it very weird and bizarre that a mayor would do that knowingly that it is trespassing and how they were there ready to arrest him. So I think I need to learn a little bit more information about this. It doesn't sound like to me that this is exactly what happened. At least this is not what I heard, but I will certainly look into it and go over it. But what do you think? I mean, what perspective are you coming from? Are you coming from a Donald Trump DOJ perspective? Are you coming from a Joe Biden DOJ perspective? I want to know where your perspective is coming from so we can continue the conversation.
I'm more neutral on it because I'm trying to make heads or tails on it, and I see that. If I were to tell you that a political leader rallied his people to a place that they weren't supposed to go, assaulted officers, and fought their way in, and those people got arrested.
Would you call them patriots and hostages?
I wouldn't call them patriots and hostages.
The only reason why I'm glad to hear that, but Donald Trump called those people patriots and hostages who beat police officers on January 6th. Surely you would agree with me that's despicable, right?
Right. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I also think that there's a limit to it because I believe 1,500 people from January 6th got charged with trespassing, and many of those people didn't assault police officers.
There were over 700 people that were violent criminals that day. Many of them pled guilty. Whether it's 700 or 1,500, that's 700 too many, right?
Right. And so would you say that these people
you're not a patriot
involved in this
well, hold on.
Punishment?
Well, first of all, I don't think that happened. Were they trying to overthrow a government? Were they chanting "Hang Mike Pence" or the vice president now? You tell me, did anybody die? Were there 140 officers that were injured? It's non-comparable. The two instances are non-comparable, in my opinion. My understanding is nobody got
one more person died on January 6th than this incident.
No, that's not true. So let's go over that.
True.
No, it's not, and I'll tell you why I disagree with you. And we will go over.
Brian's sickness, despite him dying of natural causes.
How about just let me answer it instead of you thinking what I'm going to say? Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so first of all, there was a woman that was trampled on the steps that day. Number two, yes, what's her name? Ashley, I forgot her last name. Ashley Babbitt. That's the second person. Okay, now if you want to believe that Brian Sitnick's death the next day had nothing to do with January 6th, I'm going to take the word of the person who actually conducted the autopsy. So the person who conducted the autopsy did say he died of natural causes, but also said he believed, and he's quoted as saying this, that the events that took place that day helped lead him in the state that he was in. So I'm going to go by what he says with all due respect and not what you said. There were also multiple officers, including one officer that committed suicide the next week, several officers that committed suicide, and all of their family members, some of whom have done interviews on the record, have said they were not the same person after that day. So no, sir, there was more than one person that died on that day. There were plenty of people, their lives will never be the same. There are officers that had traumatic brain injury. And I'm wondering.
One person died that day. You admitted one person died that day.
First of all, you're not even listening to me.
I am listening.
Okay.
One person died. Said there were deaths that followed from suicide.
Is it? Okay.
And then why the guy died the next day.
So first of all, you're not listening to me. I hate to have to repeat myself again and waste airtime, but I'll make an exception
Brian, you
for you.
Repeat yourself all the time.
Sir, did I just say that a woman was trampled outside and had a heart attack?
Did she die?
Yes, she did. You have no idea what you're talking about. Look it up. I'm not going to, just because you're uneducated on the issue doesn't mean I'm going to spend 30 minutes trying to explain. Don't Brian me. You're an idiot. Don't Brian me. Yes, she was. Look it up if you don't believe me. You are uneducated on this issue, and you have no freaking idea what you're talking about. And just because somebody didn't die that day, but died the next day or a week later, makes it just as bad. And you trying to undermine this and talking about how some mayor got arrested and one person might have been injured, and you're trying to compare that and downplay what took place on January 6th makes you sound like an idiot. So I just told you, you can look it up yourself if you don't believe me, and then you can call into the show and say, oops, you're right, I was wrong, I'm an idiot. And then guess what? If I'm wrong, I'll do that. Is that a deal, sir, as I bring you back up? Is that a deal? Is that fair?
Brian, you don't make deals. You still owe Sarah Fields $10,000.
Sarah Fields? What are you talking about? I don't know anybody anything. See, this is another MAGA imbecile, and he's talking about some idiot on social media who's a wannabe Laura Loomer who claims that I owe her money, which I don't. You're an idiot. Why don't you just admit it? You're a complete idiot. You have no argument. You have no idea what you're talking about. You don't fool me one bit because I knew you were a MAGA imbecile the second I heard your voice. You're a timid, middle-aged white guy who probably never gets laid, and you're the type of guy that was probably there on January 6th. So have a nice day, you MAGA inbred fool, and I wish you the best. And next time you take your little orange fingers to call into this show, make sure you have your facts right, you MAGA buffoon. Let's go to Rebecca. Rebecca is next up on PTL. What's up, Rebecca?
Hi, Brian. Yeah, the kid you were just speaking to, he obviously doesn't have his story straight. The mayor of New Jersey and a few Congress people who were arrested for trespassing and assault on these ICE agents, they were invited into the detention center, had a complete tour, saw everything that was going on, and when they were leaving, a couple of the plainclothes ICE agents were pushing and shoving, and that's how the scuffle started. Some of the Congress people, there was an old lady in there. It was all on the Midas touch. So.
Yeah, and by the way, I'll add something else to this MAGA inbred who just called into the show and obviously is not very smart and has no idea what she's talking about. By the way, idiot, not you, my dear. The name is Roseanne Boyland. She died after losing consciousness and was crushed as the pro-Trump mob surged against police. She was crushed and she was trampled, and she also became unconscious and had a heart attack. You inbred fool, you. I know what I'm talking about, and you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. I do this for a living, and I'm usually right. And idiots like you that are MAGA inbred fools who follow right-wing idiots. By the way, the person that he was referencing at the end of that phone call is a convicted felon. The person, oh, Brian, you owe this person $10,000. Not only is that a lie, but the person that he was referring to is a convicted felon. These are the people that they follow on social media, my dear. What can I say?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you. I appreciate that, my dear.
All right, sweetie. Take care.
You. You take care as well.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's see. Who do we have next? We have James who's calling in next. Hi, James. What's going on, man?
Brian, I don't know where these people come in talking about $10,000.
I don't think they've ever had $10,000 in their bank account. That's just my personal opinion. Or if they did, they donated it to the Donald Trump campaign. They bought their gold sneakers and their Bibles. I don't know, but most of these people haven't made $10,000 in their entire life. That's my personal opinion.
I mean, from what I understand, it was her calling you out for being a scumbag, and you said, I made money on this.
Nope,
and then,
absolutely
and then
not.
You're like, oh,
absolutely not. You can pot him down because there are people that want to talk about things that are not true because of what people say on social media. I'm not going to entertain your stupidity because that's what you do. You're an idiot. Sir, what do you do for a living? I'm not hanging up on you. Tell us a little bit about you. What do you do for a living? It's 1:38 p.m. Pacific time in Las Vegas. You decided to call into this show and try to get me in some sort of weird gotcha, which you didn't, by the way. Tell us a little bit about you. What's your real name? Let's see if you're a coward or not. What's your real name, sir? And what do you do for work? Go ahead.
My name is James Holmes.
Your name is
James
hold
Holmes.
on.
I'm a trauma surgeon.
Hold on. What's your name? James what?
I'm not giving my full name.
Oh, you don't want to give your...
surgeon.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you are. I'm sure you're an unemployed MAGA buffoon. So you don't want to give your full name out, but you want to go on social media and listen to right-wing turds that, by the way, that are felons that don't want me on the air. What does that make you? What type of imbecile does that... Brian, I wasn't investigated for anything. See, this is what people do. They go on social media, they lie. I hate to bring it to you, sir, and I'm sorry to... give you some information that is factual, because I would assume that somebody like you probably has a criminal record, but this is pretty much public. I've never been arrested in my life, never been charged with a crime in my life. I have gotten a few speeding tickets though. So sir, you could lie about me or believe people that lie about me. It doesn't bother me at all. I really don't care because you're an idiot. But you see, sir, if I was ever charged with a crime in my life, that would be public knowledge. You see, that's public. Like, for example, the guy who you, I would assume, support, since you follow right-wing felons on social media, you support somebody that's a 34-count felon. You see, that was proven in a court of law. Sir, what, sir, I'm still talking, but I know you're still there and you're a MAGA buffoon, and that's okay, sir. So, sir, if you're going to make claims and you can't substantiate it, then why even call into a radio show? Sir, what crime have I ever been convicted of in my life? Can you answer that for me, or is it going to be more hearsay?
Well, my claim was that you were...
No. Answer my question. What crime have I ever committed and been convicted of in my life? Please answer.
Well, that one time you...
No. There was not one time, you idiot. The answer is never. I've never been convicted of a crime in my life. You're a moron. You waste my time on this show calling in because you don't like me, because you don't like me calling out idiots like you. Have a nice day, sir. The answer is zero. Never. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's see. Let's go to Maureen. Maureen is next up on PTL. Hi, Maureen. What's going on?
Hi, Brian. I'm from New Jersey, and about that incident in Newark with the mayor. You know who our Attorney General is now?
Who would that be?
Alina Hobbit.
Oh, yes, that's right. Oh, boy, the one who lost, who was Donald Trump's attorney. Yeah, she's quite the smart cookie, isn't she, as Donald Trump would say. This is the woman who said, I'd rather be good looking than be smart.
Exactly.
That's who,
and she's the one. She's the one that said that she wanted the mayor arrested.
Yeah.
and there was a congresswoman who was 80 years old. I doubt whether she attacked anybody.
Yeah, I'm learning a little bit more about this story, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about it. But it certainly sounded like a setup to me, and a nothing burger. But again, a typical MAGA supporter will downplay what took place on January 6th, but think this is World War III. This is what they do.
Right. And Tom Homan, the ICE king who wants to be Tony Soprano, he said, "I will arrest everybody because people could say all they want, but we're going to arrest everybody and send them to prison."
Yeah,
it's like, who the hell does he think he is?
Yeah, it's pretty pathetic. I think I'll tell you who I think he is. He thinks he's Tony Soprano. He thinks he's a mob boss. Unfortunately, he does have immunity from the conservative Supreme Court, and he thinks he's above the law, and he's acting accordingly. I appreciate the call, my dear. Thank you so much. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Dave. Dave is next. Hi, Dave.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, what's up, Dave?
I lost my train of thought. I forgot what I was going to say.
I think you were going to call in and you were going to say what a handsome, good-looking man I am. I think that's what you were going to say, but I could be wrong. I'm good at reading.
I've never been a liar.
Okay, Dave. Well, what's on your mind? Come on, let's go.
So
you call. So you're a MAGA supporter. Are you another troll, or are you trying to be funny, or what is it, Dave? Which one is it? Are you another troll? Are you the same person?
Well, either way, you're good.
There he goes again. So, Dave, I'm willing to have a conversation with you. You're probably, I don't know if my call screener is telling me whether you're the same person who just called in 5 minutes ago. He doesn't know. So, Dave, are you the same person who just called in 5 minutes ago? Are you trying to troll? Is that what you're trying to do, Dave?
What else? Yeah, it is me.
Okay. So, Dave, no. Here's what we're going to do, Dave. You see, here's what we're going to do. You've wasted my airtime because I have a lot of other people on hold. You're using different names because you're a loser. And now I have a question for you, Dave. Otherwise, the conversation is over. What kind of person has no time on their hands to call into a show multiple times? Clearly, you're not working and you don't have a job. That you're listening to this show and you call in multiple times to try to get me in a gotcha moment, and you make yourself look like a complete utter imbecile. I'm just wondering, what type of loser are you? Besides being a MAGA supporter, which clearly you are, what kind of loser are you to call into this show multiple times to try to get me in some sort of gotcha because you read something that a felon said about me? What type of idiot are you? I'm just wondering. Can you tell me what type of moron you are? How stupid are you, Dave? What is your real name, by the way? What's your real name? You just said that you're a surgeon or something. I don't even know. You use different names calling into a radio show. Are you 8 years old? What type of, sir? You know what, sir? Get the hell off my show. You're a waste of my time. What type of imbecile loser has that much time on their hands? It really is pathetic. 702-221-7283. And the sad part about it is, if you wanted to talk about politics with me, if you wanted to talk about Donald Trump with me, I would have been happy to continue that conversation. But he doesn't want to do that because he doesn't have an argument because he's not smart enough to talk to me. Hey, I'm going to call you a dope now, okay? Because you're obviously not very intelligent and you think you are. So let me be very clear so even somebody like you can understand, because you have no idea what freedom of speech pertains to. I thought you did. And now you have no idea what I do.
Hey, man, I was trying to get up. I was trying to get into the comments in what do you call it, TikTok.
Yep.
I was arguing with the guest there. But, yeah, it's nice to hear from you, man.
Yeah, what'd you think about that call with Don Lemon?
I mean, I'll tell you this. I like Don Lemon. I think him and I can go for a beer together and have a good conversation. So I don't believe he's honest when he's in front of the media.
Why? Why do you say that? Tell me.
He just feels disingenuous, man. And when I say that, I will say I'll give him some ups when he did his Don Lemon on the street, and he actually had a lot of Trump supporters. And he released that. And now that for me, I was like, yes, man, Don, you're back. And I was excited for that. But then he's gone back to being a guest on CNN and taking a complete kind of partisan position. And now, I'll say,
well, let me hold on. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you said he takes partisan positions. Would you say I do
Yeah.
the same thing? Would you say I take partisan positions?
Yeah. So yeah, I
Okay,
wasn't.
so give me an example. Let's talk about this
Well,
because I think it's a good conversation. You think I take
yeah. I mean,
partisan positions? Like, just give me one example and then let's talk about it.
okay. So Don Lemon made claims that Donald Trump devices hate, he creates hate, and he's a racist.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that as well, and I can
Okay.
give you examples of why I believe that.
Fair enough.
Mhm.
Now, if I'm interviewing Don Lemon,
Mhm.
Don Lemon's a great man, great reporter. I'm just going to say, hey, demonstrate that for me, man. Like, show me some examples.
Sure.
Unfortunately, like, I kind of felt like it was more of like a kind of a broham for you guys.
Okay, well, let's start with that. First of all, it was Donald Trump who said in an interview in Playboy magazine that he did not want black people counting his money in his casinos. He wanted Jews counting his money. He's had in the last
Hold on a
28
second.
in the last 20 hold on, in the last 28 positions that he has hired, high-level positions, they've all been white people. He's had one of the whitest administrations. By the way, the thousands of discrimination lawsuits that he had to pay out way before he became the president of the United States. Are you aware of that? Before he became the president, thousands of discrimination lawsuits that he lost.
Are you going to go on a diatribe and ask me 6 questions and only let me
I'm not
ask
asking. I'm not asking you questions. The question is different. I'm giving you examples of why I believe Donald Trump is
those
a
are you
racist. Those
one?
aren't
Are you
questions.
aware of? Ask me 3 or 6 different questions.
I'm not asking you questions. I'm giving you examples of why I believe Donald Trump is, in fact, a racist, bigoted individual. Let me ask you another question. Let me ask you. Okay, I'll ask you a question. Okay. When NASCAR decided to ban the Confederate flag, and I think most people in this country know what the Confederate flag represents: hatred, bigotry, racism. 24 hours after NASCAR banned the Confederate flag, Donald Trump did an interview on Fox News attacking NASCAR, angry at NASCAR for banning the Confederate flag. Now, you tell me, sir, people that love the Confederate flag, that defend the Confederate flag, that are angry when a large business bans the Confederate flag, what would you call those people?
Okay, those people would be bigots, likely. However,
okay, so Donald Trump is likely a bigot. Would you admit that?
Let me finish. Were the people angry about the Confederate flag being banned, or were they angry about the freedom of expression? Because you tried to trap the last guy in this, and you tried to trap him.
Hold on a second. Okay, hold on a second. First of all, the first thing you said is probably the only thing I agree with, which is most likely a bigot. Yes, Donald Trump is most likely a bigot. You see, when we talk about hate speech, when we talk about I'm responding to what you just said.
No,
a normal reaction from normal human beings that are decent people, when we talk about the Confederate flag, when we talk about the Nazi sign, when we talk about the white power sign, the one that Kyle Rittenhouse used, okay, no, they're symbols of hatred. The Confederate flag is a symbol of hate and racism. The white supremacy sign is a symbol of hatred. The Nazi sign is a symbol of hatred. When people and their first reaction to it on a national show is to be angry that somebody barred it from being within their business, that is bigoted in nature, and I would label that person most likely a racist.
So you're going 3 avenues over. I said the people that like Confederate flags are likely bigoted. Mm-hmm. However, if you're standing up against people censoring speech, does that make you bigoted? Even if what you're defending,
you're not. This has nothing to do with censoring speech. If you're talking about,
hold
on, let me finish and let me explain. So hopefully you can understand. With all due respect.
Oh, I can understand.
Okay.
It's like Don Lemon.
No, I don't.
And Twitter.
I don't think you do. So I'm going to try to explain.
Don Lemon and Twitter. It's
okay.
The same example.
Okay. I'm going to try to explain it to you. Okay. When we're talking about freedom of speech, it doesn't pertain to NASCAR or private business.
I know it's not private business.
Then if it doesn't, then hold on. Let me finish. If we agree, which I think we do, and if freedom of speech doesn't pertain to private business, then why do you keep making excuses for the bigots, which I agree with, that are defending it? It only pertains to the government freedom of speech.
Sure.
It's private business, and this is a flag. Donald Trump has a huge platform, the former leader of the free world, okay? And he is defending a flag. Now, if you want to make an excuse for him and say, well, he's defending freedom of speech, this has nothing to do with... Okay, come again. Go ahead.
That's not what I said. I asked a question. I said, were they defending this or that? Because I'm not aware of this.
Here's why Donald Trump did what he did. Here's why I believe Donald Trump did what he did. Okay. He knows that his base of supporters, not all of them, but
when did he make this claim?
Okay, let me finish my statement. I just started the statement by saying, in my opinion. So if you'll let me finish. In my opinion, Donald Trump defended the Confederate flag because he knows these are not Democrats that are going to be voting in back then for Joe Biden or voting for Kamala Harris. He knows that his base of supporters, his base, not all of them, are Proud Boy members, people like David Duke, and the same types of people that stormed the Capitol on January 6th, which are right-wing fringe groups, some of them hate groups and white supremacist groups. If he gets up there and he denounces the Confederate flag, he knows he's losing part of his base. He's a coward at best. Best case scenario, a coward who is okay with defending those who throw out hate speech and proudly show their Confederate flag.
How long are you going to editorialize for?
I'm sorry?
How long are you going to editorialize for? Because this is all your opinion.
How am I an editor? What the hell? Okay, you don't even know what I am.
You started the conversation with
stop. Hey, I'm going to call you a dope now, okay? Because you're obviously not very intelligent and you think you are. So let me be very clear so even somebody like you can understand, because you have no idea what freedom of speech pertains to. I thought you did. And now you have no idea what I do. Ever since I've been doing a talk show, I never called myself a journalist. I am an opinionated talk show host. That means, sir, and I'm going to speak slowly for you now, it means I share my opinions. I talk about the news. I try to be fact-based, but I'm going to have many of opinions. Some people are going to disagree with them. This isn't editorial anything. I let dopes like you call into this show, and I probably had you on 10 minutes too long. You don't understand what freedom of speech is. I never called myself a journalist, and you seem to defend all of Donald Trump's rhetoric and even defending the Confederate flag. Have a nice day, sir. You don't even know what this show is. You don't even know the difference between an opinionated talk show host and what's an editorial person or a journalist. What a dope.